Hey everybody, Andy Waddell with Form Films. Welcome to Grade in 10. Today I'm going to show you my process to grade a shot captured with nothing but the sun, talent, on location, early morning. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's probably going to be like a grade in 20 because there's going to be a few challenges. Let's go. All right, this is the shot, and I love this shot. We captured this at a private school with a school administrator presenting facts about the school to the viewer. This was captured around, I want to say 7:30 or 8 in the morning. So the sun is way up in this area right here. And this right here is what we're going to watch today. This is going to be the hot spot. If anything's going to, clip out our whites, it's going to be right in here. So we're going to be watching this as kind of our barometer for how our grade's going. Teacher has a nice soft overall light. There's no bounce. Believe it or not, this is straight up just sun, camera, and an ND. So Red Gemini 5K. I don't remember the settings, but it doesn't really matter. So first and foremost, let's jump to color management. So you can see we're on color managed YRGB. So this is bringing all of the magic science together to give us a great Rec 709 output. If I turn it off, that's what we got. Gonna turn it back on, because I like the starting point and I know the science is done right. So we're going to kick it off here. Let's rock and roll. First and foremost, I'll warn you, there will be some going back and forth and tinkering without fail. Oops, I hit play. All right. We're going to leave it right there. So we're going to just play with exposure and just kind of dial up some basic kind of exposure in this area. And I'll have to go back and adjust this and work with that. But we're just going to play with our curves for a sec. Just kind of bring a little bit more life and energy. I don't mind if we get a little blowout right in here. It's not going to be the end of the world, but we may go back and spot that and just reduce exposure there if we need. So watching my scopes, I don't really want anything to clip. I just kind of want to watch what's happening, and I'm going to bring some kind of mid-level exposure up right in there. Okay, liking that. Going to pull down just a touch on the shadow side. I do not want to lose these details in her jacket though, so I'm going to be really careful with that. All right, next up, let's hit the primaries. Again, this is just my approach. I'm going to take the primaries, I'm going to swing them. I want to cool off this image just a tad, but it's going to be really subtle because I like overall the tone of the image. And of course, over in the left half of the frame, we're going to put some warmth back in later probably. So just a tiny primary adjustment. So if I off, on, you can see it kind of pop her bluish black jacket here versus off. It's got a little hazy, orangey greenness to it. So I'm gonna go with that. Let's call this adjustments. I'm just gonna come in here on curves and pull a touch of red out of the shadow, just ever so slightly. I'm gonna pull just a touch of green kind of out of the mids. Off, on, okay, getting a little more separation again. Okay, so right here, let's go ahead and parallel up. I'm gonna draw, I don't really need her shirt. All right, we're gonna go skin on top. We're gonna go shirt on the bottom. We're jacketing this. Pantsuit, I guess, technically. All right, here we go. Gonna grab the 3D qualifier, and I'm going to do my best to more or less avoid nearby similar hues, although I know this building over here is going to grab some, but I can mask her off. So look how much purple when I solo it up. Look how much like meh purple there is. Isn't that nuts? So let's just try again and get a little better grab. It's just trial and error. There, really liking that. Okay, I think I can work at that. Great starting point. All right, I don't mind if there's a little bit of bleed in the back. It's not the biggest deal in the world. Life has hues that match skin tone all over the place. Light, dark, you're gonna see them everywhere, and it just adds to the overall morphing of the human skin tone into the world. It's just gonna be a shared tone. But I am going to mask her a little bit because I want to work with her tone with color compressor. Okay, let's see if we can find something that feels more natural to her. Real life skin tone. Something that's a little warmer. suppress those hues and saturation. And I'm going to pull up the vector scope so we can see where she's at on the skin tone. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I meant to... forgot to add... Did not do that efficiently. I wanted to add a node here just to boost saturation overall a little bit. Okay. That might be a little much. All right, jumping back to our skin. So I'm going to squash some hue, and I just want to bring it with using my offset. I'm just going to bring it out a little bit. I'm going to try to get it right on the line as much as I can on the skin tone line. I may have to grab a little more. Oh, dang it, I just totally hit her jacket. There we go. Okay, that's looking a little better. Okay, let's turn off solo. Okay, so it's a little hot, but we can pull it back just a little bit. Bringing her skin into a warmer place than the cool shadows she was absorbing from whatever's bouncing around here. This blue wall continues over to the right. The concrete was kind of blue. Okay, so if I look at that and I turn it off, turn it on. Holla! She's looking very warm and friendly now. And because I've got her face isolated, I'm just going to go ahead and bump up the exposure like on her face. Just a little bit. There we go. All right, let's jump to the jacket. Let's have some fun. Same thing, 3D qualifier. Grab this, brush out most of the surrounding stuff, although I know the building shares some space with her. Blur that up a little bit. Gonna fill in that jacket a little bit, can't we? There we go. Okay. Oh, for kicks, I'm gonna go ahead and drop on a mask. I'll go back on skin and do this too, just to kind of keep us as isolated as possible. Give her some room to wave her arms around when she's talking. Skadoosh. Not that worried about her hands. I think in the interview she actually doesn't use them a whole lot. But just out of principle, let's go back in and make sure that we've got her hands through 3D Keyer. Yeah, there we go. Off, on. Yeah, that helps. Her hands really pop there. Now you see we're getting some gnarly bleed over there on this rock. That might be tricky. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Okay. We lost it. Okay. Let's go with that. Again, the goal with this is always just to get a really solid first pass of color that's definitely showable to your client. They're not going to see raw and go, what the heck with black and white? You just want it to look like presentable. So I always go back the next day and tweak every key. And then I go back the next day and final tweak them before I'm done. So it's usually a couple of fresh eyes on it, before it's totally out the door. But I still want to come away feeling pretty good about this. So let's keep going. All right, let's do something with these trees. So, okay, I'm gonna kind of grab all of the greens, kind of cut her back, blur it up a little bit. Freaking autosave. Okay, and now I'm just gonna pull some red out of the shadows on these things. These leaves. I said these things. That's funny. I'll push a little more green into them. So if I kill that, see, I'm making it a little more springy and a little less fall-y. I think it was shot. I feel like it might have been shot in the fall. Okay, not liking this, honestly. Let's reset. Let me use 3D qualifier instead. trying to grab more of this grass right here. What I don't want is to grab the tree trunk. If I can help that. See if I can just crush it out. Maybe. Oops, wrong one. Let's play with it for a sec. Okay. Make it a little greener. Pull out some red in the bottom end. Hey, so far this spot's not is not having any issues with exposure. That's good. Oh, back to jacket. Dang it. Okay. We can, now that it's isolated, either make it almost black and white, which man, it looks really good. It really makes her pop. Or we could bring it up a little bit and hey, we could say, hey, let's brighten up her jacket. Let's make this thing just come up a little bit. And let's make it a little bluer. Boom, boom. Very subtle. Oh, got a little bleed right there. You see that? Just a little. Turn it on. There we go. All right. Yeah, I like that. Off, on. Or we just go almost black. You know what? Honestly, I might just go black. Looks cooler. Really makes her pop. I'm just going to drop it down to about 15. Boom. Done. Okay, trees. Okay, I want to handle these blue walls that I don't think are really that blue. I think it's purely the sun. So grabbing my 3D keyer again. Just going to whip down and grab all of that. Might need to mask out her shirt. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. If we just pull back our sat on this a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Just kind of graze it up a little, maybe not that far. Brings it back to more of a tree tone. And it just really helps her pop, right? Because now you've got this nice warm, face over, this gray. So it's just popping a little more. It's not competing. It just feels like the blue feels a little bit artificial. Maybe I'll split the difference. I feel like 30. Just to keep it a little bit there, but not too much. Okay. Next, let's handle these bricks. In the background, using the trusty 3D qualifier. Once again, he goes in for the bricks. Okay, we're also, you can tell we're grabbing a lot of this pine straw, which might not be, frankly, terrible. Grabbing her hair a little bit too. Maybe we'll put a little red in her hair and let that bleed in. All right, let's see what we can do. Let's play with some reds. Let's just push up a little bit of red. A little sat, there we go. And that brick's popping. It's dead right there when it's off. Smoking when it's on. Now, I want to make a second road on here. I'm going to go ahead and just call this hot spot. I am just going to very subtly dial this back. I want to see what I'm doing, so I'm going to come over here and I'm actually just going to grab my mask, soften it out significantly. Just kind of manage those highs right in there. Just subtle, just a little bit. Off, on, just helps bring a touch more detail to it. Okay, jumping to the end of the line, I'm going to go ahead now and throw in sharpening, make her razor sharp, cutting off the screen. I'm going to shift S. I'm also going to put a lab node here to throw a little bit of magic in there. Just a touch, probably about -3.5. Almost Just made the bricks come back to blue. Very subtle. 2.5. There we go. It does put a little bit of blue in the bricks, but I like what it's doing overall to the image as a whole, so I'm going to leave it. All right, finally, well, I shouldn't say finally. There's one more thing I'm going to do after this. So I'm going to put a little vignette on here. Let's do some vignette. I want to pull our eye toward her, kind of off of that right side. I'm actually going to go advanced, just slide this over a little bit. Very subtle. Kill softness so I can see what it's doing. Okay, I'm actually going to open it up to more like a little rounder. Okay, something like that. Almost the center is almost over here in the hot spot. So this will just further accentuate that vibe of this being my neg side, this is my key side. So if I kill the vignette, boom, put it back on, boom, you can see it's really just pushing my eye back toward the key side. Like I said, I'm going to just dial this down to about half, kind of a half blend. Off, on, just like what that does. Okay, let's see. Let's also, said earlier, I was going to put a little bit of warmth on the left side. So we're going to call this warmth, and we're going to go ahead and zoom out, draw a circle mask. As Shane Hurlbut says, there's nothing in nature that's square. So anytime I'm doing something like this, I'm going to use a circle, because I agree with him. Everything is fluid in nature. All right, I'm going to kind of do one of these deals. And voila. And now I'm just going to come over to my offset. No, sorry, not offset, highlights. I'm just going to roll them, touch one, touch toward the yellow. There we go. Off, on. Yeah, liking that. You know what I forgot at the beginning? Denoise. Even though we're shooting outside with ND and probably, if I remember correctly, I think this was shot with a variable ND, so I don't know how much was in. But it was probably ISO 200. So there's probably no noise in it at all, but I'm going to do just a subtle bit of noise reduction, just in case. And I mean subtle. It's going to be small if it's there. I'm just going to do like 10. Label that denoise. All right. Well, jumping back to Parade. We're clipping a little bit there, aren't we? Ooh, why am I clipping? Oh, it's my, Where are you? Where are you? It's the vignette, I think, doing it. But, you know what? I don't really see anything that's bothering me that's clipping, so it's just the topmost end. Let's see if we can just bring that down a little bit. Now I'm just rolling my exposure around to kind of find a way to balance it out just a touch more. So, okay, that's feeling pretty good. I'm kind of digging that. Her skin looks warm. It looks like a consistent hue and a consistent saturation. She could be a touch brighter. Like I said, this is why this is grading 20, because I'm going to spend a little more time on it. Yeah, okay. So let's walk it through. Raw, add a little denoise. Just get our exposure moved up a little bit, kind of filling up, getting our key information kind of in the middle of the scope. Gonna pull primaries in just to pull a little bit of that greenness off. Some adjustment just to pull a little red out of the bottom end, a touch more green right in the low mids. Saturation just to push the whole image a little. And then together we're gonna do skin and jacket. Boom, pops her. I could definitely go back and track her eyes and bring her eyes out a bit more. That might be something to do tomorrow. Not gonna happen today. Trees, boom, just pulling a little bit of the reds out up here to make them feel a little more spring. The wall, pulling some of the blue off. Bricks, putting a little more red kick into these bricks. Okay, hot spot. Just kind of dialing that little spot down so that it doesn't overwhelm. Okay, warmth. Boom, just warming up this corner because we know the sun's there. That's the motivation. And that's what's going to bring some energy to the shot. But still keeping it well balanced with her as the talent. My eye is still drawn to her, particularly with the vignette. Kapow! I mean, kapow, that just totally pushes me to her. I'm actually going to pull it over a little bit more. All right, off, on. It's just a very subtle neg fill over here. Okay, lab CIE color space, just to tighten up my low end a little bit. Low end being my shadows, just to kind of pull some of those leftover little reds out of these areas in here. And then finally sharpen for the final node. All right, that's it. I've graded this shot a couple of times, really liking this. I think one time I did it, I actually isolated the tree and pulled out some of these colors that are up in the tree from the mold, or not mold, but moss or whatever this is growing on it, on the bark. And I kind of, gray blued it up a little bit, but I'm kind of liking just the warm wrap around it and letting it happen. And I'm definitely really happy with the way she's looking right there. So feeling good. All right, that's it. Thank you. Don't forget to follow, like, and please subscribe for more videos like this. Love to keep these coming, and I hope these are helpful to you guys just to inspire and show you my approach to tackling a shot in about 10 or in this case 20 minutes. Thanks.